Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the weekly MMA Cycles Market Update. This is Gianni DePocia, your host. It's Friday again, which means it's time to review this past week's geocosmic activity and how they impacted the markets. You're going to have to excuse me a little bit today. I'm a little nasally. We've had a very powerful warm spell here in the Midwest, which is perhaps fitting due to the Sun-Jupiter conjunction in Aries, and it's led to a massive pollination a little bit earlier than usual. So it's affecting my my voice a little bit. So just bear with me on that front. But this past week, we had a lot of key geocosmic signatures, especially with respect to Venus. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. We'll start off by looking at the Dow. We had Venus ingress into the sign of Gemini and form a trine to Pluto on the 11th. And then we had the conjunction between the Sun and Jupiter the same day. And then here on Friday, we had a hard aspect, a square between Venus and Saturn. And it's one of the most powerful reversals in all of our geocosmic studies, that is Venus square Saturn, really any hard aspect between Venus and Saturn. So you can see Dow Jones capped off. Well, it's still a couple hours left in the trading day, but it's been a strong week thus far. We had a CPI reading come in lower than expected. So we'll see how that affects inflation expectations, because remember, CPI is a laggard indicator by definition. So Dow had a strong week. We saw some pretty good leadership from the NASDAQ as well, but here on Friday, it is leading to the downside, but overall a pretty constructive week. We are in an intense geocosmic reversal period. And next week, there's no shortage of aspects as well. We have a square between Sun and Pluto on the 20th, the same day that Taurus seasons begins. And the same day, we'll have a solar eclipse as well. And then the following day, we're going to have Mercury go retrograde on the 21st of April. So we're already seeing some choppiness, and that may be attributed to Mercury being in its shadow period for retrograde. But I would look for the potential of false breakouts, indecision by traders. And we've kind of seen that already this week. You know, the initial reaction of the CPI reports was bearish, but then on Thursday, we gapped up and closed near the highs of the day. So that's what we're seeing on the equity market front. Want to take a look at the GDX gold miner ETF, really strong week overall, giving some of it back here today. The fact that gold has been able to rally so much under these Jupiter aspects really is a testament to the technical strength, because gold typically does not like Jupiter signatures. And so this is a ETF that we cover in the MMA monthly ETF report, which will be published next week on the 19th of April. So if you wanted to know how we're positioning ourselves in the precious metal space, would encourage you to check that out. Want to take a look at the 10-year interest rate, rebounding a little bit here on Friday. So again, you know, that doesn't really seem to fit the whole narrative that inflation is slowing down. But remember, markets are forward-looking and CPI data is backward-looking. So rates going out of the week. On a strong note, want to take a look at USO, the crude oil ETF, which had a strong week. You know, the Sun-Jupiter conjunction proved to be pretty bullish thus far. And, you know, we talked about last week how the Saturn transit through the sign of Pisces could lead to shortages. And we did see some OPEC production cuts, which, you know, triggered this bullish breakaway gap here. But if crude oil is in new intermediate term cycles, then I think we have to be very cautious of buying into the narrative that inflation has peaked. And so that's definitely something we need to keep an eye on. Let's take a look at Bitcoin and Ethereum this week. Both really strong performances. Bitcoin still making new cycle highs here. We do have some bearish oscillator divergence, but I'm very pleased that Ethereum also made a new high as well, moving toward our upside target, which we've been sharing in our daily and weekly reports in the $2,200 to $2,400 area. So this has been a pretty bullish catalyst thus far. But let's see how you know, the Sun square Pluto signature impacts this, because you know, it is a currency of the sort, and interest rates can affect currency prices. We've seen the dollar have a choppy week as well. A little bit of a bid here on Friday. This is UUP, the dollar ETF. So a little bit of a gap up here on Friday. So dollar going off of the week on a strong note. There's a lot of bearish sentiment surrounding the dollar right now. So we need to keep that in mind as we go into Taurus season next week, which is the ruler of currencies. So that takes care of the markets that I wanted to review with you this week. Thank you so much for watching. You can find all of our work at www.mmacycles.com. And like I said, we have the monthly ETF report set to be published next week, as well as the Shanghai report for our readers and viewers in Asia that like to trade that market. that will be published on Monday, the 17th. So that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you same time, same place next week. Have a great weekend.